All right, we're in Colossians chapter 2 and looking just at verse 12. The first question reads, what two things happen in baptism? I'll read the verse since it's so short. Having been buried with him, that's Christ, in baptism, and raised with him through your faith in the power of God, who raised him from the dead. The two things that happen at baptism are that we are buried with Jesus and that we are raised again with Jesus. Who does these things? It says it's accomplished through our faith in the power of God. It's the same power, the same miraculous power that God used to raise Jesus from the dead is the same miraculous power that accomplishes this work of giving us death to ourselves and giving us resurrection to newness of life. The last question is, what is our part? It says right there in the heart of the verse, it's through our faith in the power of God. The power of God is there, God is desiring to do this work in us, but he will not force his will, he will not force himself on us. We can grab hold and have this applied to us by faith, by trusting that he's able to do what he's promised to do, by trusting that by his power, he can give us victory over ourselves. He can give us the ability to deny ourselves. He can give us also the ability to walk in his ways, to give our will to him and walk in that newness of life. Remember, there's two parts that Jesus mentions in his prayer in Gethsemane. He says, not my will. That's the dying to ourselves. But he says, but thy will be done. That's the walking in the newness of life, walking in the new way of God. But the important point is that both of these elements are accomplished by the power of God. And our part is to trust in his power to do so, to cooperate with him, to allow him to do this work in us. I want to also emphasize that this is teaching that baptism of itself, just simply going down under the water, even if you're baptized in the proper way, in the proper age, and all of those things seem to be proper, baptism of itself is of no significance, no power, unless that crucial element of faith is there to bring God's power into our life. And furthermore, even if we have faith at that point of baptism, it's necessary for us to continue in that faith even on to the end of our lives or until the Lord shall return. We have to continue in that faith, continuing daily to trust God's power to give us the strength to deny our will and give us the strength to walk in his will. Paul says it in chapter 1 of Colossians, verses 22 and 23. But now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death to present you holy in his sight, without blemish and free from accusation. But here's the crucial point, verse 23. If you continue in your faith, established and firm, not moved from the hope held out in the gospel. If we continue in the faith, then this work, this power of God will continue in us. And he will continue to give us this death to ourselves and this living to him, this life in him. But this is the important point for us as Christians. The heart of our salvation, the heart of our life is faith in Jesus. It's trusting him, believing that his ways are better and believing his power is sufficient to help us to walk in his ways.